The Soundwave Chronicles podcast, brought to you by FD Productions, engages in conversations with pioneering musicians, producers, and experts from the music industry. We get the inside scoop on what it takes to make it in the music industry today by delving into the sources of their inspiration, their creative process, and much more as we explore a wide range of their experiences. I am your host, Afterlov, and I want to welcome you today. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. I have a very talented guest by the name of Parisa Pirzadeh, who's an amazing violinist, violist. She's an award-winning musician based in Tehran. She moved to the UK. She's only been there for about 4 years, but she performs there as well. It's really a pleasure to introduce Parisa. Welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Hi, thank you very much for inviting me to be on your show today.
Oh, it's a pleasure. So what does this week look like for you in terms of performances and studio work? What's like a normal week look like for somebody like yourself?
As a freelance musician, I would say that it's really good to be involved in different projects, to be called with, to go for the for playing for the orchestra, and also to teach some pupils if they offered you to do that. It would be absolutely fine to do this kind of stuff. I really like to spend my time working with pupils, working with music studios to record in the sessions, and yes, it's good. It's good.
Oh, so you love what you do.
Yeah, exactly. I really love.
Now, I didn't really introduce our listeners to your bio, but I'm just going to sort of bring up little tidbits of the bio throughout this interview. So you started pretty young. You started at the age of 10 in Tehran, and
Yeah.
I'm sure it was a very different experience from what you are facing now in the UK in terms of just quality of life. Do you want to tell me a little bit, like some of the differences that you had maybe at the age of 10 as a violinist, violist, and today as an adult in the UK?
Yeah. As you said, I started playing the violin and viola at the age of 10 when my parents sent me to the Tehran Music School. And I started to learn how to play the violin. At the same time, I started to play the viola as well. So my teacher just offered me if I was happy to do the same, because he saw my potential to do these two instruments together, and he offered me, and I said yes, I can do both of these instruments to play. And after 6 years, I graduated from Tehran Music School, and then I started my professional career in Tehran Symphony Orchestra. So I auditioned for Tehran Orchestra, and then they offered me to play as a viola player in the orchestra sector. For that time, it was really hard for me to communicate with people, especially 17 years old. It was at first, it was really hard for me, but over time it gets better and better. I worked for Tehran Symphony Orchestra for 4 to 5 years, and at the same time I studied the music in Art University of Tehran, and I got my Master of Music Performance. Um, and after 5 years, I stopped working because I was into loads and loads of different projects. I couldn't make all these two together. It was really hard to deal with two jobs at the same time. So I decided to do the freelancing rather being a permanent player in an orchestra. And during that time, I started to play with various music orchestra, including both Persian music orchestra and the classical. We had our concert in different part of the world to perform for the audiences. And as the most recent one, I can say I work for Czech television orchestra. I was actually invited to as a guest, as a viola player, to work for the Czech television orchestra to do some recording for them. And yes, and it continued for another 3 to 4 years doing kind of this stuff. And then I met my husband,
Mhm.
In one of my concerts. He was one of the audiences. He sat in the first row of the audience, and as I came to the stage, we actually first we uh, we just came, we love each other at the first sight,
Oh yeah.
and then he proposed me after having a little connection. He proposed me if I was happy to marry him, and
Mhm.
then we actually came to the UK. And yeah, I came to the UK in 2019.
Mhm.
And since then, I tried to take up in various musical training courses, in the hopes of getting my resume portfolio promoted. Um,
Mhm.
and However, I know that I passed my Master of Music Performance, but I knew that it's really important that you have to be updated in terms of living in the first world country, because I come from a third world country. It was really hard to get along uh, with many things that it's really different from your country. I hope that
Could you
it
give
does
some
make sense.
could you give some specific examples of where it's more difficult in Tehran?
Um, in terms of the musical education, I know, because however, we had a very very professional teachers to teach us how to play the violin or any other kind instruments. But when you move to the other country, which is not part of Middle East countries, or even the third world countries, I think that's things are going to be more complex. You have to be more capable. You have to prove your capability to be connected with those people who can connect you to the very more professional career or more professional atmosphere. And yes. So what was your question?
But what were some of the challenges that you said? You mentioned that you encountered some challenges in Tehran that you would not have encountered in the US or the UK, because of the nature of it being a third world country. Is it a lack of resources? Is it the pay not as good for the orchestra? Is it like limitations by the government in some capacity? Like maybe you couldn't play, I don't know, were you not able to play certain songs? Could you elaborate on that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. However, I don't want to put it into the politics, but uh, to make it more clear, I remember that in the teenage, I used to collect the CD player. Sorry, the CDs that each side per man recorded. And that time was really hard to use the applications in Iran, because we didn't have as many application as now we are using now right now. And I believe that I used to walk miles um, to get that CD to be able to listen, and then to play along. That there was a backing tracks on that CD, and I remember that uh, before my audition, I used to use that the CD one, okay. But I remember that there was only one shop in Tehran that we could actually have all these CDs, to buy that CDs to be able to listen and play along, because of the limitation,
So
because of the
you're saying that one of the limitations of living in Tehran is that you had limited access to music.
exactly, yeah.
So it does now, but you were, as a classical musician, weren't you typically sight reading sheet music?
We actually do the sight reading as well. This is not something that's really really difficult to do. I think that sight reading, we can do the sight reading as well as the playing the instrument.
Mhm. But it was helpful, obviously, if you're auditioning for something to hear the song.
that you're going to
Yeah,
audition for.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah, exactly.
so you really had to be very good at sight reading, or at least memorizing the song, if you didn't have
Yeah,
access to it on tape or CD. So that's one of
yeah.
the many. All right. I could personally attest to when as a violinist, when I would audition for orchestras, I
Mm.
would um I would definitely want to listen to the music over and over again before playing it, before challenging myself with the sight reading. So I can identify with what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And now when you moved to the UK, did you find that life got a bit easier? Was it was there a language barrier that served as a challenge for you and your husband?
Um, yeah, at first, yeah, at first it was really hard to actually communicate with English people because at first I realized that they don't have this tendency to speak with the foreigner people. And as we talk to friends, they just say, yeah, this normally happens when you're a foreigner. They especially when it depends on the area that you are living. Some people would not rather to speak with the foreigner people, but some, yes, they are very open to speak. It depends on the area. Unfortunately, the area that we were living,
Mhm.
people were not actually open to speak or even have eye contact to be able to start conversation with them.
Hmm.
So I actually was happy to um, start my communication, to have connection with friends, and I've made a bunch of helpful friends around who were either studying at university or have graduated, and they were very, very, very helpful to share. They encouraged me to study in one of the UK universities because they say that it's a shame when you have this potential and to not let it find its own way, And these days I'm just thinking about going to the university to study my music, to be able to promote it, improve my musical skills, and put it into the professional practice.
So did you say that you're working at university now to improve your skills?
Yeah, I'm thinking about going to the university these days, um, because since immigration to the UK, it took a lot of time to embark myself into the right position. I had to deal with so many different things in terms of the culture, the communication. Everything was really different from my country. But I think that after 4 years, I can say that this is time for me, that I can think about myself. I can think that I can go whatever I want to do. And yes, I think maybe in the next 1 year, I will have studied in one of the university in the Manchester. Who knows?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And for
Yeah.
those of you listeners who just kind of hopped on in the middle of the show, I'm speaking with a very talented violinist, violist, award-winning producer, and performer, Parisa Pirzadeh.
Mhm.
You won an award 2018 in Tehran for Best Classical Music Award. You did a performance of 9 tracks.
With my brother, my twin
Oh,
brother.
with your brother. And now, what did you do to prepare for something as big as that? And what did it feel like to win an award like Best Classical Music Award, which is pretty significant?
To clarify this, I would say that luckily I have come from a musical family, and my elder sister, who is 12 years my senior, used to play the violin. And I remember that since childhood, I was, overwhelmed with listening to her violin playing. She used to prepare herself for all the repertoire that she was asked for either audition or music exam.
Mhm.
And my father actually has a very good voice. She used to sing before the revolution, and after the revolution he just stopped working as this field due to some his personal reasons.
Hmm.
I don't know. And also my brother, my twin brother, plays the piano, and for this album, specifically for this album, I asked him if he could actually accompany me for some of the tracks as a pianist, as an accompanist. And yeah, here's the album that we won the Plaque of Honor for the best classical music performer of the year. And yeah, it was
Did you mention that you did a recording with him in order to
yeah,
submit for the
yeah.
competition, or was it a live performance? Or was it both?
It was no, it was recorded in his own music studio. As I said before, he has his own music studio in Tehran.
Mhm.
And yeah, I remember one day I asked him if it was not busy to do this kind of thing together, and he said yes, yes. And he actually agreed to do this together. And I think that Puria, my brother's name is Puria. Puria did I think 3 to 4 tracks as the accompanist, and the other tracks the repertoire was played as a viola or violin soloist. I play as this violin and viola soloist.
It's an incredible accomplishment what you won, and that must have given you a whole lot of confidence to continue this full-time career as just a live musician. And you're so successful. I mean, at 2018 plus, just looking at your bio, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to check out Parisa's bio, it's pretty extensive. You were on the Czech television soundstage. You collaborated with Poor Miriam music studio in Tehran. You've really been around the block, and you're very well connected. Why did you decide to move to the UK, even with all the achievements that you had gained in Tehran? Were you looking
Yeah,
for more opportunities, or was there something missing?
because I got married.
Oh, okay. That's clear. But he
Yeah.
was in Tehran, no?
No, he used to live in the UK for about 18 years, and when I had a concert in one of the venue in the London, he just came as an audience, and
Okay.
we just met each other there. Yeah, and I came back to Tehran, and then he moved to Tehran to propose. You know.
I thought your husband was from. Oh, he moved back to Tehran to propose. Okay, but he was
Yeah, yeah,
originally
yeah.
from Tehran, so
He's
you had the same background.
yeah. He's Iranian as well. Yeah.
So that works out great. So, so it was sort of a no-brainer. Like, you weren't going to have him move to Tehran. He said, "No, you got to move to the UK for this to work out."
Uh, because he used to live for about 18 years, and it was really hard for him to to cut everything and get back to Iran. And he just asked me if I was happy to come to the UK, and I said yeah, okay, it could be another option. I can come with you.
Right. So it was a love at first sight, no brainer. You moved to the UK. Now, as far as the professional opportunities, did you feel like you lost something from Tehran when you moved to the UK, or do you feel like, okay, this is just the same thing? It's just the challenge is the culture.
This is a question that everyone asks. Um, since coming to the UK, my friends just look at my profile and they say, "Oh, Parisa, you were so professional in your art field, and why did you move to the UK? Because you already know how to get your followers, how to to show yourself." And I said that this is life. We have to we can't actually predict what happens, but I'm happy now because after 4 years I'm just starting to uh, find my way to be able to what actually I want to do. I think that it's enough for me.
Which is what is it that you actually want to do?
um, I really want to be as a viola soloist one day, and I think that I can now start by thinking about going to the university and starting studying in the university to be able to see people who can connect me to different orchestras,
Uh-huh.
and yeah, I would like to study specifically this viola soloist subject, and I think that now it's time, like I can take my steps bigger to be able to get that dream.
Now, have you worked on have you worked on original compositions that you've published to Spotify, or is your main mission to just sort of to play classical music with orchestras that are already pre-written, like I don't know, Bach, Beethoven, that type of stuff?
Mm. Um, if you have listened to my new album, which is called Beyond the Sea, it's now streaming on all music platforms. Since coming to England, I felt that I'm alone. I had to do something to fill that gap, and I started to compose uh, my own tracks. The album consists of 5 tracks, my own composition, and I played only piano and violin for all these tracks.
Now,
And
before you continue, how can our listeners find your music? Do they go to your website, Parisa Pirzadeh, was it .com or something?
Yeah, exactly. I put all the tracks on my website, and even if they can pop my name into the Google search Parisa Pirzadeh, I think it will automatically my actual my album will come up automatically if they just put my name Parisa Pirzadeh.
Okay, and it just because, and if they want to find you on other platforms, do they just go to Parisa Pirzadeh, spelled DEH at the end, .com, and is there a link to that that they could easily find your music?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
This is her website. Actually, let's see if I could. This is
Yeah,
her website. Very professional, very cool looking.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can scroll down and check out her amazing bio and all of her music. So you check that out, and stream her music on Spotify and all platforms. But I see there's a bunch of YouTube music videos as well, right?
Yeah, I do my YouTube channel. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us about?
I'm not very busy these days to put my videos on YouTube, because these days I'm just I'm teaching a lot. I have lots and lots of people who come to mind to have their private violin lesson, and I think that I think that one day my friend said, "Well, Parisa, come on, that's enough. You're just teaching too much." That's why I'm just these days I can't find any time to put my video on YouTube channel. That's why.
Your schedule is full with teaching and mentoring younger or other aspiring violinists and violists.
Exactly.
And how do you enjoy that?
Yeah, I love teaching. Yeah. As a peripatetic violin teacher, I've been working in one of the music center, one of the best. I think it's most well-known music center in the Manchester. One Education. If you search its name, I've been working with them for 3 years, and now I have 7 to 10 pupils to teach violin and viola, both violin and viola. And sometimes they call me to go to the different schools to deliver music workshop or music lesson for children. And apart from these activities, sometimes I'm called to do the different task, which is actually comes from my culture. For the most recent one, I can include Music Action International. We work with 4 different schools in Manchester to be able to teach them how to sing a song which is actually come from a different part of the world, and we actually get them all into the stage to play for the audiences. It was a massive stage hall. And it was my first time to get all my children to come to the stage and to conduct that's the song that was originally from Iran, and they actually sing the song
The
better than
sign?
me. Yeah, sing the song, the Persian language. They were able to sing that song in Persian language
Oh.
better than me. It was incredible, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
By the way, some of my favorite culinary cuisine is Persian food. Just as a side. Well,
Which
Persian
one?
food.
Say that
No,
again.
no. Some of my favorite food is Persian. Persian food.
Oh, yeah,
Syrian
yeah,
and Persian food. Some of our like my whole family, we love that stuff. Just as a
yeah,
side point. Anyway, back to what you were saying.
yeah. And yes, and also I'm invited to do some music workshop, as I said, as part of the festivals. You know, as the most recent one, I can say, the Horizon and the Den Festival was the last festival that I work with lots of children to teach them how to count the musical beats and how to produce a sound in a better way. And I don't know if you know that I can play one of the Persian music instrument, which is called gaychak. It's hard to pronounce, but
Great
uh,
chat.
gaychak, yeah. Gaychak is like a tiny cello, but it has a very low sound. You know, it's really hard to produce a sound as much as you produce with a cello.
Mhm.
Um,
Is the fingering the same?
it's fingering, yeah, but yeah, it
Is
has four strings.
is
Yeah,
it the same fingering as a cello?
yes, exactly, and it's the same tuning, like D, like A, D, G, C. Yeah, the same tuning. But the only difference is that the Reichak has a very low sound, as I said, and um, it doesn't have any it doesn't have any difficulty to play. You can easily play the Reichak. It has only one position to play, and everything it should be very easy to play.
Hmm.
And yes, I use that Reichak to make sure that children can produce a sound. I remember the one that I brought my I took my Reicha to that festival, and the lady came to me and said, "Oh my God, what's this sound? What's this sound? It has a very dark sound when you play." And she was actually interested in learning this instrument, and I said that it should be very easy for you to play. And since then, she is my Reicha pupil. She's English, but she just realized that it's something different that she can play. And
Mhm.
sometimes she takes me a message. She said that, "Oh, Parisa, I'm playing this instrument in front of my friends and family, and they just uh, they're really happy for me to learn the different instrument." I think this is something very new for them, and I can actually develop uh, this activity and put it into the different projects, because I realized that this is something new, and I can work.
Mhm. So,
Yeah.
I'd love to check this out. I don't know, I don't know too much about it. I know the
Mhm.
cello, but let me ask you, do you have any association with the Suzuki method? Is
Suzuki
that
method, yeah. um, Uh, I think Suzuki method. I used to practice a lot when I was in uh, teenage period. Um, I remember my teacher gave me a Suzuki method, and I chose only 5 etudes of that book to play for the exam. And yeah, for violin and viola, Suzuki has a method for violin and viola. Actually, this is the original one is for violin, and it's transcribed or transposed to the viola. And we used to work both versions because we had to do this for the exam. I remember that I had to play both versions for the music exam, which was really hard for me. But at the end, I was actually able to do the both versions for the jury. And yeah, I really like the method. It's very unique. These days I'm giving this method to my pupils to work. Especially it has 40 studies, and normally I choose the last 10 study for pupils who are in between the intermediate to advanced level. Yes.
So, but what I didn't understand is if you're using a different, what the other approach to your teaching method is called, or if so. It sounds like you used Suzuki earlier, but that's not a method that you use with your kids now. When you teach students now.
In the UK, normally the teachers give their students when they are the beginners, when they are about to start the violin, how to learn the violin, they normally give the Violin Star book to the kids. Violin Star, and it has with 3 books: Violin Star 1, 2, 3, and after 3rd book, they're able to go to the grade 1. I don't know if you have heard about the ABRSM method in the UK. ABRSM is the organization that pupils can go and exam and to do the exam to be able to pass the level, and then they get a certificate. And then after 8, it has 8 levels, and after 8 they are able to teach in organizations or any other.
And you went through all those levels?
Pardon?
And you went through all those levels yourself?
Yeah. I passed all these grades.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, before I did it before the COVID, but after the COVID, they just set a new method to do the digital exam. It's really easier than the face-to-face exam. I did face-to-face exam. It apart from performance, the examiner normally asks you to do some sight reading, and you're required to play different scales, as well as they assess you how musically, how we can get along with different musical aspects. Mm-hmm. And you have to show yourself how to be prepared for every question that they come up and they ask from you.
Mm-hmm. Now, what percentage of so you're spending a lot of time in the educational realm, and you're also doing performances. So what percentage of your schedule would you say is taken up with performances versus education? How much time are you spending educating other students and versus performing?
Yeah. So I think that I spend more hours teaching than practicing. These days, especially these days, I'm just involved with this activity because when you prove yourself as a good violin teacher, you get this offer. You actually have this offer to work with different organizations, and I think that these days I really love teaching more practicing, because when you teach, you get much more experience. in my perspective, I'm not sure if I'm right or wrong, but I actually in the past I didn't teach at all, you know. Uh, but since coming to the UK, after taking up various musical training course, um, I just realized that okay, that's time that I can teach. And since starting teaching, I just realized that oh, this is a very good activity. I really want to be surrounded with this atmosphere, and I think that it could be a reason that I want to go to university to study music, to be able to teach in this art field. Maybe in the college or university. I'm not sure. But I really love teaching.
So it makes you sound like you're a very patient person, which is definitely a prerequisite to teaching. To patience, calm, like focus.
Yeah.
Those are all vibes that I get from you.
Yeah.
What are your aspirations? What are your goals as far as professionally in the next year, the next 5 years, next 10 years? Do you want to be you mentioned you want to possibly be a professor, or do you want to play with the symphonies? Do you want to be a soloist, an artist, or all of the above?
Yeah, all of the above actually.
Yeah.
But personally, it's however, I really like to do teaching. I would like to be appointed as a member of the international orchestra one day, um, to either be called as a viola soloist or be called to sit along with the other musicians in the orchestra. But I think that it's more exciting to play and practice and share the technical exercises with the other musicians. I think but sometimes I think that the teaching could be another option. I have these two. I'm not pretty sure which one I actually want to pick. It's really hard.
Okay. Well, that's great that I guess you're in the best possible predicament for your situation, because whether you end up doing more teaching, you'll be happy. Whether you end up doing more performances, you'll be happy. Or if you do
Exactly.
both, you'll be happy. So you just sound like a happy person. That's great.
Yeah, because I'm a very flexible person. I can actually um, um, get on with everything very easily. This is my personality. I don't nag. I don't complain. I just try to be flexible with every situation that I'm in it.
Well, we need more people in this world like you. Flexible, don't complain.
Yeah.
That's a trait. That's an attribute that is undervalued, I think.
Oh.
I wanted to kind of shift the conversation a little bit to I don't know if the word is ergonomics, but the way that you position your instrument. And as a teacher, if you could share with the rest of us, even myself, as a violinist, I've played many years, and I've had back pain over many years. And I know that there are different ways of holding the instrument. I actually use a TheraBand for my electric violin. What types of recommendations do you have? I don't know if you experience any back pain at all. What types of guidance could you provide for us as far as how you hold the instrument, ways to reduce pain, maybe exercise? Do you have any insights into that you share with your students?
Fortunately, I've never had this experience to deal with kind of these with my pupils. Uh, but I can say, if you have problem with how to hold the violin on your shoulder properly, is it because of using the shoulder rest? Are you using the shoulder rest? Because sometimes my pupils found it very difficult to use the shoulder rest. That's why I'm asking them to take them off and then just use the the cloth, the tiny cloth, to cover that part. I'm not sure, but normally when they have difficulty using their shoulder rest, uh, they use a cloth, and they said that it's better to use the cloth rather using the shoulder rest. I think that one of the reasons that the violinists have the pain whilst they are playing the violin is the shoulder rest.
Interesting.
Yeah, I can say that it's really rare that you see people using the shoulder rest have the pain, but
so you play without a shoulder rest?
Depends on what character. For example, if I'm doing the violin in the orchestra, I don't use a shoulder rest, honestly. But if I want to record something, or if I want to practice, yes, I have my shoulders on the violin.
Okay, so you do a little bit of both. And how about alignment? I mean, are you playing to the? I noticed violinists like Joshua Bell, virtuosos like him. He plays a little bit like this, and he sort of lifts his head up. I don't know if that's a habit or if he's told to do that in order to reduce his back pain, to improve the alignment. Because when you're playing like this, you're hyperextending these muscles, especially when you're playing really fast, like Paganini. So is there a benefit to maybe playing more to the right, to the left here? It's showing right on my video, but this is the left part of my body.
Yeah, one method that I can give you is that before playing, sometimes it's really important that you warm up. You get your fingers flexible by doing some exercise before playing the violin. For example, I'm giving this method to my kids, actually to the children who are less than 5 years or 6 years old. They actually have this exercise. Just do it 10 times. After 10 times, you can feel that the blood circulation in your hand. And I think this exercise might be really helpful and useful before getting yourself to play the violin.
So you don't feel the need to do any stretching or strengthening of your arms or your back when you play?
I don't actually give this exercise to the kids, but for the teenage or even more age group, I can give
adolescents.
For example,
now for yourself, are you doing any exercises to keep yourself in shape for the constant playing?
Three times a week I go walking, and I do yoga once a week. I think that these exercises can actually help because normally I don't have any pain when I play the violin. I can actually feel that how it could be really painful when people talking about the issue that they have while they are playing the violin. But fortunately, it has never happened to me.
Well, you're obviously very healthy.
Maybe.
What is you mentioned I thought you mentioned a yoga type of activity. You don't do any of those types of exercises?
Actually I do it online. I have a private tutor who is actually working with me online in Iran. So we use a mat. There are lots of different exercises for doing the yoga, but we normally do only half an hour once a week.
Could you tell me what yuka is?
Yoga.
Oh, it's
yoga.
I thought, it was a pronunciation thing. I thought you were describing a different type of exercise. I didn't know. So you're talking about yoga. Okay.
Yoga.
So yoga you find to be helpful.
Yeah, definitely. If I normally give this advice to my students, do your yoga. Am I said correctly? Yoga.
No, I was just, I'm not criticizing. I just I didn't know what you were referring to. So that's pretty cool. And you enjoy it, and you find that it helps you
helps
with your
a lot.
strength. Uh,
Yeah.
does she
Some
ever?
of them,
Go
they're
ahead.
just complaining that, oh, teacher, we don't have any time to do the exercise. I just advise them, just do yoga.
Yeah.
Yoga, you can benefit from you doing the yoga more than any other activity, like jogging, doing
Mhm.
bicycle, and etc. etc.
Mhm.
But do yoga, please.
Okay, so you hear it straight from the professional. You should do yoga if you want to keep yourself healthy and in shape, and that's an important thing to do as a violinist. I want to, just before we head out, I want to just have you remind us where where all of our listeners can find your music, and where we can stay connected with you on social media, for instance. How can people reach out to you if they want to book you, or if they want to learn from you, or
Yeah,
if they just want to listen to your music?
yeah, sure. I think that the best way that people can actually find me is my website. I I have mentioned all the details on my website, just underneath of my page. If you just scroll down, you can actually see all the details that I've mentioned. My email address, even my phone number,
Mhm.
and yeah,
And
they can get connected.
what if they want to, just connect with daily updates? Is that, where else could they find you? If they want to see what Paris is up to, her latest projects.
The
You.
latest,
Yeah.
my Instagram. I
Instagram.
would say,
Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you're not
Instagram.
Instagram is the main thing, not Facebook or Twitter. So I'm gonna pull it up right now just to show people, just so they know. This is where you
Yeah.
can find her on Instagram, and her website is right there in the bio. And I want to welcome you to check out this very talented violinist and teacher's music on Spotify. Also, you can check out Spotify there. It's been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much
Oh,
for coming on.
Thanks so much for tuning into the Soundwave Chronicles podcast, where you can stream our interviews wherever you get your podcasts. We hope you enjoyed the interview and learned something new today. And if you did, please leave a review so we can keep bringing you great content. Thank you, and have a great rest of the week.